From The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. The seasons long for each other, like men and women, in order that they may be cured of their excesses. Spring, if it lingers more than a week beyond its span, starts to hunger for summer to end the days of perpetual promise. Summer, in its turn, soon begins to sweat for something to quench its heat, and the mellowest of autumns will tire of gentility at last, and ache for a quick sharp frost to kill its fruitfulness. Even winter, the hardest season, the most implacable, dreams, as February creeps on, of the flame that will presently melt it away. Everything tires with time and starts to seek some opposition to save it from itself. This is Gothic. Tonight's guest voices are Richard Southard of the Adventurers Vault podcast and Izaak Sutherland and Josh S. Gaudioso of the Strangers in the Pines podcast.
Gigi's internal monologue on discovery of the doll at the end of the last episode. Oh my god! What is that? Oh, I don't want to touch it. Oh, please tell me it's not made out of human skin. I would know, right? It would feel different than this. Well, it hasn't murdered me with a big knife yet, so that's something. So, Annabelle, who put you here? Does someone on this godforsaken island think they're practicing voodoo? That they're going to pick up a doll and make Allison fly around the room like in Scooby-Doo? In this town, in this region, who knows what these people think voodoo's supposed to look like? Pins stuck in Barbies. So it's a threat, then? Or someone's out to frighten Allison? Exploding mirror, you could do that with firecrackers or something. We'll figure that out in the morning. But the car... People cut brake lines and things, right? Couldn't someone cause a car to reverse instead of drive? Ugh, I'm a San Franciscan, not a mechanic. I'll get the sheriff to look at it if they ever manage to drag the thing out of the bay. And, in the meantime, whatever message you have for Allison, Poppet, well, you're not going to give it to her. We'll find a nice spot for you right in... Oh, son of a motherless goat. These pajamas have no pockets.
It's a new day, and the sun is not shining brightly, but shining a bit dimly through the overcast. The snow has it turned to mist and a bit of a drizzle, and took off some of the snowfall that had fallen the night before. Not all of it, but it's a lot patchier than you might have thought it would be. And shortly before noon, a messenger arrived to tell Carl and Gigi and Allison and the others who are staying at the Spirit Bay Lodge that the meeting for the reading of the will would occur at 1 o'clock at the law offices of Hart and Hart, number 1 Main Street, Spirit Bay, Elk Island, Washington. Now, someone else also got notification of that, and they might not have been expecting such, but it arrives by text. So, in any case, Jason, you receive a text message from the law offices of Hart and Hart informing you that the meeting will be at 1 o'clock at the aforementioned location. And welcome back, Jesse. Woo!
Hello.
Woo!
I get a text. That's how I come into the story. I get a text.
You get a text.
All right.
What do you want? Skywriting?
As suspicious as I am of the whole situation anyway, that they found my phone number and was able to text me, kind of throws me off for a moment, and I mean, considering everything that I have witnessed recently, I think it's just time to bite the bullet and find out what's going on. So it's like, well, all right, I guess 1 o'clock at the offices.
All right. How about Gigi and Carl?
Well, I assume I'm still staying in, I believe I spent the night in Allison's room.
You spent the night in Allison's room, that is correct.
Allison, I assume, is also going towards the law offices of Heart and Heart, so I would like to invite her to ride along with me in my rental, since she no longer has a functional vehicle, hers being on the bottom of the bay.
Carl, if I remember correctly, the law offices weren't that far away, but I'd gotten a motorcycle ride up to the lodge.
Yes, and in fact, Skeen Marcotte knocks on your door, Carl.
Why, hello. Yes, hello.
And Skeen laughs at your discomfort and says, "Well, old man, I thought you might want to ride down to the meeting."
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you for thinking of me.
And they just push a helmet into your hands. And so it is that we find ourselves in the venerable law offices of Heart and Heart. This is one of the oldest buildings in Spirit Bay. It was one of the first ones built. It anchors Main Street, essentially. It occupies the spot where a bank would in any other town, but the bank in Spirit Bay is a rather slapdash affair that's about halfway down Main Street and in a building that if bank robberies, happened as much as they did in the Wild West, it would be being robbed all the time. But the law offices of Heart and Heart, on the other hand, are considerably more fortified. The building is brick. It is tall and looming. It has wide steps that lead up to the main doors where the lettering appears to be in gold leaf that says Heart and Heart Law Offices. You are ushered inside by the secretary, and she ushers you into a conference room that is down a long and gloomy hallway. The lighting inside is, at best, dim. The conference room is musty and has an ancient and heavy wood table that runs the length of this chamber, which isn't huge, but it's not a small space either. There is plenty of room for the number of people who have gathered here.
How many people is that?
Well, that would be a number of people, like I said.
Well, that's good. I'm glad it's not a letter of people.
It is a letter of people.
It's that little I in italics.
7 people. Gigi, you recognize, of course, Allison, and you met Skeen as well. And you also recognize Carl from the previous night, with whom you chatted with and discovered was your uncle at that time. And that is, I believe, the extent of your recognizing anyone. Oh, except, no, that's not quite true. You do, in fact, recognize 2 others who are here. You recognize them only because they were at a party that you attended, one with very bad punch.
Oh, it was just awful. I was sick for a day.
And so let's get their descriptions right now. William Kitteridge, would you be so kind as to describe yourself?
You see a man in his early 50s with salt and pepper hair that's trimmed neatly and pulled back, with a pair of gold frame half spectacles kind of sitting on his nose, in a nice sort of navy blue tailored suit. He sort of has a general air of mild disdain towards just about everything around him, but other than that, he just sort of looks like a well-tailored older man. He is Caucasian, by the way.
I'm pretty sure Gigi dislikes him instantly.
And then you also recognize William Kitteridge's brother, Kit. Kit, would you be so kind?
So Kit is standing kind of behind his brother. Not that behind is like an easy thing to do in a room like this, but he somehow managed to at least get the concept across. But he's got, a fairly athletic build, more like a runner's build, I would say, kind of scrawny, but still muscular. And he's about 40. And standing next to William, he is, you don't really notice much about him. He's very forgettable.
Allison, by the way, Gigi, has a rather more caustic reaction to the sight of William than you did. You see it on her face as there's this look of horror comes over her, which, is to be expected given what she says she saw in the mirror last night.
Yeah, I do that thing where I hold her shoulders in solidarity.
Carl, you probably do not recognize the Kitteridges, I would think. Would you concur?
I concur.
And none of you recognize the other figure who is here. Would you be so kind as to describe yourself, Jason?
Jason is mid-30s, male, average size, slightly athletic, mid-length blonde hair, dresses not shabby, but I'm trying to think of the word. Not shabby and not expensive, well made, so that the clothing are serviceable and look like they will be for a long time. Jason has a very interesting feature about him, though, that people recognize pretty quickly. When you look into his eyes, you can see that they're of two different colors. He's got one blue and one green. He's got heterochromia. He doesn't give off any kind of direct air that you can sense, other than he seems like he could either be in front of an audience and showing off all of his goods, but he also seems like he could slip into the shadows and be unnoticed.
And then, of course, there is Skeen Marcotte. They are wearing their motorcycle leathers today, as always, over a Metallica t-shirt. Allison today had to borrow some more clothes from Gigi. So what's Allison looking like this afternoon?
Well, pants you can wear multiple days in a row and no one will really notice. So I imagine she's using the same pair of pants. But I've given her a dark blue blouse with some ruffles up at the neck, and it's like laced down the back, and then the wrists kind of come into these like poofs of also ruffles.
Is this just your extra stuff, or is this what you normally wear yourself?
Oh, it's what I always wear.
Did you dress up to come to the reading of the will, or?
I've got a kind of a, that very like warm brown color vest over a paler brown shirt with poofy pirate sleeves.
And Carl, how are you presenting yourself here at the reading?
Carl he's a man that's always been well kept. He always presents himself well, but not necessarily fancy. A simple man. So he has, a pair of old worn jeans, a nice button down shirt, and then the old jacket that he purchased when he got here. Yet you can see that he doesn't look well rested. His hair isn't quite where he'd like it to be, and he's got some bags under his eyes, more than normal. And he seems a little more bothered, like Gigi had seen him before, where he seemed very, very collected. And now Carl just seems off.
All right. And Carl, you are distracted, but you're also looking around at presumably the members of the family, that at least the members of the family that your brother thought worthy of being here for the reading of the will. What are your thoughts?
I think going to study their reactions, look to see who knows who looks at each other with those eyes of recognition, and who doesn't, and who looks questioningly over at me.
Now, William, you do know who Carl Caine is, the brother of Lazarus Caine, who would be your uncle. So what kind of look are you giving him?
he's kind of looking at every person in the room, including Allison, sort of in the same sort of general light. But as he looks to Carl Caine, his face kind of lights up a little bit, and he has sort of a small, sort of collected smile on his face as he gives a nod. It's good to see you, Uncle Carl.
About that time, a tall, gaunt man enters the room. He has immaculately coiffed gray hair, almost white, but he's not necessarily particularly old, perhaps in his 50s, but his face has the air more of a mausoleum director than a lawyer, but it is a lawyer who he most also certainly is. As he enters, looks around at everyone and says, "I'm glad you all could make it. I am Wolfgang Hart, senior partner here at Hart & Hart Law Offices, and I am glad that you are all here safe and sound." And at that he looks particularly at Allison, and then gives a glance and a nod to Gigi. And then he goes again and he looks over everyone and he says, "And I know that this is perhaps a sad and mournful time for some of you. I do not know your personal connections to the deceased, our long-term client and friend, Lazarus Caine, but I know that he wanted all of you to be here today. We will, in a few moments, start the presentation, which is a video will. Your relative has taped a message to you. We do have paperwork for you to sign afterwards. That the will is, of course, more complex than what is stated in the video, but this is how he wished to present it to you. So, if you all would take seats, thank you very much." And he waits for you to do so.
Jason, of course, will be the last one to sit.
Who do you wind up sitting next to, Jason?
It turns out I'm between William and Carl.
Wolfgang makes sure that everyone is settled, and then he reaches into his immaculately tailored suit and pulls out a small remote control. He pushes a button on it, and a very high-tech video monitor descends from the ceiling at the far end of the room and comes to life. Bleep, it says. The lights in the room dim. The screen flickers. A man appears on the screen Wolfgang Hart has set up. He is seated in a wheelchair. There is an oxygen tank attached to the back of the chair, but he isn't using the mask that goes with it. He is an old man, thinning white hair pulled back in a ponytail, a brown weathered face with thick wrinkles at eye, forehead, and mouth. He is wearing a dark blue suit with a tie that is many years out of style. Behind him is a high-ceilinged room. There is a pale couch directly behind him, facing a large Riverstone fireplace where logs crackle. A deer head is mounted above the mantel. The man clears his throat and speaks to the camera. "Many of you, most of you, have never met me, or perhaps were too young to remember having done so. No matter. My name is Lazarus Alfonso Caine, though I've always gone by Lazaro to distinguish myself from my father. Again, no matter. If you are listening to this filmed will, then I am dead, and you can call me whatever you like. Quite possibly bastard once you hear all of this." Static ripples across the screen momentarily, and he clears his throat again. "My name is Lazarus Alfonso Caine, Jr., and I am of sound mind and body as I say these words. This is my last will and testament." Static ripples again. "Let's get right to things. For my great niece, Alison Monser, who visited me often, and whom I actually liked, the house and a great deal of money. Wolfgang tells me it's all worth something like $38 million. Alison, you are the youngest of my extended relatives. Use this to make something of yourself, or sit around and read for the next 60 years.
I give Allison's hand a squeeze. It's, I'm trying to tell her, like, oh, good for you. There is, however, a split second of slightly disappointed look that flashes across Gigi's face.
Anybody else have any reaction?
I think Kit whispers, not so subtly to William, maybe she can get her car out of the bay.
William looks at Kit and just gives him just a cocked eyebrow. Just goes, that could be a possibility. Such retrievals, I know, are costly and expensive. So that would definitely be a good use for said monetary gains, Kit.
Carl?
I'm actually going to be chuckling a little, not loudly, but just a little almost sub-vocalized laughter. But it's visible if anybody's paying attention that actually a little amused for some reason.
Yeah, Jason's definitely confused and concerned in the situation. Like, half is just like, well, what the hell am I doing here? And the other half is looking back and forth between Carl and William and just thinking, this can't be for real. I'm being punked or something.
Of course, during this, Lazarus Caine has not stopped talking. And now to the oldest of us all, assuming you showed up at all, my only remaining sibling that I know of, Carl Caine. You get the books in the family library. Sorry, Allison. Yeah, Carl, I know how much you hated the family, so I'm giving you the record of it, plus a ridiculous numbers of editions of Robert Louis Stevenson novels. Burn it all if you want.
Again with the chuckling, but the amusement at this point is it's almost bizarre. It's almost of it's somewhere between indifference and surprise, but at the same time, it's almost like an anxiety that's coming out as a certain sense of humor.
Kit's just like constantly like whispering to William, like basically just trying to make him happy and proud.
After probably about 3 whispers, William kind of like turns to Kit and just kind of looks down at him with that very familiar look of sort of mild annoyance and disdain, and goes, Kit, perhaps in the middle of the reading of the will is not a particularly good time for conversation.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. You're always right. Sorry. Yeah. I think we're next.
Skeen Marcotte, you took care of me for a very pleasant year, despite the wishes of your mother, who certainly had her reasons, but we'll get to that here in a while. You made me laugh, and you taught me about pronouns and gender biases. Anyway, you always liked my car, enough to steal it for that joyride you took around the island, so that's yours. 1936 Auburn convertible speedster. Wolfgang says it's expensive, so if you want to sell it and buy a dozen motorcycles, go ahead, or drive it off a cliff, whatever you like.
I don't recommend that.
At this, Skeen is like, yes, the car, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Sweet score, says Skeen.
So far, I love Skeen.
I don't recommend driving it off a cliff, just for the record.
It's a beauty. Oh, you've got to see this car. Oh, man.
I'd be delighted.
Carl, we've got to go driving in this car. But, of course, they are saying this while the video is still rolling. Gigi, Allison appears to still be in a bit of shock because she just got the manor house and $38 million. And so you don't think that she has actually registered any of the rest of this. However, you can't do much about that because your name comes up next. Gloria Marin. I am led to understand that you go by Gigi, your middle name coming from my favorite niece, Grace Foster. Gigi makes you sound like you're a flapper. Consider going by something more respectable. In any case, Grace loved to come out here and hole herself up in the family's hunting cabin on Fog Mountain. Hopefully you will enjoy it as much as she did. I never cared much for it myself and haven't been up there for years, but the taxes are paid for the next 10 years, and Wolfgang has been renting on some online bed and breakfast thing. He can tell you all about it.
Don't lecture me from beyond the grave, old man.
Now, Jason Lawrence. He pauses for a long while, then clears his throat again. Almost absently, he puts the oxygen mask to his face and inhales. Horrible sounding oxygen mask sounds. You're here because you are my only child, and Skeen Marcotte is your half-sibling.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? I'm sorry. Are you kidding me right now? How? How is this possible? What is going on here? Is this a serious joke?
You'll have questions, of course, but there isn't much to say. 36 years ago, as of this recording, Amelia Marcotte was my housekeeper. She was 18. I was 62. She was lovely. On screen, Caine shrugs and looks away from the camera. I'm afraid I was a different man then. When I found out about you, I was enraged. I had my reasons, but I am now ashamed to say that I forced Amelia to give you up for adoption. She, thankfully, resisted my entreaties to take other measures. Now you are here, and I give to you the only thing I have that truly matters to me, the lighthouse on the finger of God, with the stipulation that you maintain it and keep it functional. Toward that end, I've had Wolfgang make investments that should net you $100,000 a year for maintenance and your comfort. And boy, I am sorry.
Gigi's, leaning forward with elbows on the table now, just like...
Oh, right. William and Kit Kitteridge. I don't much care for either of you. William, you're a pompous ass. Kit, you're a reprobate. But I owe it to Lisbeth to give you something. So, William, enjoy the contents of safety deposit box number 66 at the Spirit Bay Bank. Kit, hell, take the guns. You'll probably need them.
Kit does a silent fist pump.
How does William react?
He just sort of nods and makes note of it. Although internally, he is furious. Although he spent a lot of time keeping himself in check, so it is held down rather well.
Let's make the first roll of this evening's game. And what would you say? Would you like to try obscure or protect?
I would definitely prefer obscure.
To conceal those feelings from everyone else, go ahead and roll.
I got a 9 and a 2, so a total of 11.
So for these, you roll 2 10-sided dice and then add whatever your attribute score is.
Okay, so 9 and 2 plus my obscure, which is 6, makes bumps up to a total of 17.
Nicely done. You managed to keep it in. And you, having just rolled, get a mark on the new and improved turn tracker. Hey, Jesse, look, we have a turn tracker now, so I can keep track of who's rolled.
I see that.
Because Dead of Night is interesting in that the same player, including me, the GM, cannot roll twice in a row. We have to come up with some way for someone else to roll if that is the way that it looks like it's working out. But of course, Lazarus Caine has continued. My attorneys, Mr. Hart of the Hart and Hart Law Offices, have written copies of this and will see to the dispensation. As there is a chance, albeit slim, that I will live considerably longer than I expect, and some of you may have died before I do, Carl. They have also been directed to arrange, rather against the common way of things, they tell me, that rather than the pertinent distributions go to the recipient's next of kin, it will instead go to the next person down the list. And indeed, this will be a sustaining order of dispensation for a period of 10 years. So if you want whatever you get today to go to your kids or who the hell ever, then you've got to manage to stay alive for the next decade. Only if there are no beneficiaries remaining at all from the list will the estate be placed in the trust of Hart and Hart for dispensation to whatever other family I might have. And if there are none, then hell, the whole line is gone. Not that that'd be surprising as we procreate late. And everything will go to the town of Spirit Bay, Washington. He reaches forward and turns off the camera, the last image filling the screen, that of his left eye, bright and shining and filled with secrets. What do you do?
Yeah, I think Jason would be one of the first ones to be like, so which of you can tell me about Amelia Marcotte?
Oh, that's my mom, says Skeen. Hi, brother, I guess.
And how do I refer to you? Just sibling?
You can call me Skeen. Skeen works.
Hi, Skeen. And how old are you?
I have no idea. Hold on.
Is this a character choice for Skeen?
Skeen has no idea how old they are. Great. I love this.
No, I just, the look of DM panic, it's so nice to not be doing that.
I'm 28. No, wait. That's Allison's voice. Hold on. I'm 28. How old are you? Are you my older brother?
35, Skeen.
Close enough. We're practically twinsies.
Nice to meet you.
Can't believe the old man never told me about that. Didn't even hint at it. Weird.
Yes.
Did Amelia ever say anything about me?
Skeen kind of, they move around to where they can talk to you a little bit better, and will say a few things here in a moment. Kit.
Oh, I was just going to say, Kit's not picking up on, William's being upset. And so he's just kind of excitedly rattling off all the different guns that he thinks he's going to get, like various assault rifles and, vintage elephant guns and, what have you.
Yes, Kit, you will be able to farm a small militia. You shall be delightful. Although a modicum of respect in a place like this doesn't seem unfounded, brother.
And Carl?
Carl is... I'm going to kind of stand up slowly and just do like a subtle short turn around the room, looking at all of the reactions, listening to all of the chatter, kind of bathing in all of the emotions, and just realizing that this is a certain level of chaos. Maybe not, overly dramatic or maybe not super profound, but this is chaos. And knowing that his brother is who caused this, and that's what he wanted. And he just knows that, even from the grave, this is what he would do. So he kind of looks up at the screen as though it were somehow relevant and gives it just a little salute and a chuckle.
You're also looking around and you're gauging people, so I want to give you an active shot at reading William. So go ahead and roll, I think, identify would be good. And you are looking to beat his passive, which is 10 plus his attribute obscure, which you said 6. So 16.
Looks like I'm going to fall a little short. I rolled a 7. I have a 7, so that's a 14.
Now, I could, in order to make things interesting, spend some tension points here. I can spend tension points on identify and obscure, but I don't have to spend them to lower them. I can spend them to raise them, too. And I think it's narratively interesting to see, for Carl to see what William may really be expressing. So I'm going to spend those 2 points that you need and determine that I also need to make a tension tracker.
Can we get like a cool tension music as you maneuver the tension tracker?
That's horrible. Okay. So William, what is it that Carl sees as he pauses and stares at you for a moment before moving on and saluting the screen?
Carl would notice that a lot of William's anger seems to be kind of, his frame is very rigid, while his face appears calm and serene. You can definitely see it in the way that it's carried. And as he's sort of noticing this, William actually turns to him, and it would give him more insight that William appears to be angry at him, although his face at the moment is still kind of blank. But and as he sort of gets this realization that, yeah, he seems to be quite angry at me, William actually walks over to Carl. It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance, Uncle Caine, one of the two Uncle Caines. If you have a minute, there's something I'd like to discuss with you.
Well, of course, yes. How can I help you?
I was hoping to receive the collection of literary archives that the Caine family had been storing for many years, in hopes that I could donate it to the University of Portland. Obviously, I did not receive such a trove, but you did, and I was wondering if there would be any way you would be willing to part with any of it.
Take a moment and just kind of give him the more standard look over. Now, before I was kind of chuckling and reveling in the idea that I know my brother would enjoy this chaos, but this seems a far more serious matter, and this is an individual that I have yet to assess. So I'm going to kind of give him the hard stare for a moment, and see if I can't get a sense of the person before I look at him and say, well, I came to this island without any books. I suppose I can leave without them. Wouldn't mind giving them a look over. A few books there worth reading.
Of course, I have no desire to attempt to be pushy on this matter if you wish to read them over, but I would ask that you give my offer some consideration. If need be, I can speak to the university about doing some monetary dispensation if that is your proclivity.
Oh, no. Won't have much use for money much longer, I'm afraid. As you can tell, I'm quite old. I'll be lucky if I can read but a few of those books before my time comes.
Well, as dear Uncle Lazarus has shown, a lot you can do before the time passes, and you're not that old of a man just yet. What is it, early 60s?
Well, maybe for him, but we've always been far different.
I don't think anyone was like Lazarus.
I'm sure we can work this out, but I'd just like to give them a look over.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. And William kind of gives him a nod and walks back to his brother.
These conversations are able to be had because Wolfgang Hart, at the end of all of that, nods, looks at his, of course, gold pocket watch, and then comes over to Allison next to Gigi and asks her to step away to sign some papers in the office. Allison, however, does not let go of Gigi's hand. Gigi, are you going to be torn here between going with Allison and staying here to catch up on all the gossip? Or are you going to... What are you going to do?
I think, no, absolutely. The minute that Caine specified, if we die for some reason within the next 10 years, a thing that we have received goes to the next person down the list. Like, hackles went up, Gigi started glaring around at everybody else, just you dare touch Allison, so Gigi's going to go along with Allison.
So you two leave, and this is just going to be really, standard stuff. Wolfgang is just giving you, giving Allison paperwork, and since you're going to be in there too, he has stuff for you to sign as well, Gigi. Of course, that means you miss out on the interchange between Carl and William, and the discussion between Skeen and Jason.
Yeah, I definitely regret not having access to that hot goss, but my immediate concern here is the well-being of my cousin.
And Kit?
I think that, at some point when William is no longer, speaking with Carl, he kind of says, or he goes up to William and he says, "Hey, Will, what's that mean? That whole thing about have to live for 10 years? Does that mean that if everyone else dies, we would get all the money and the lighthouse and the all that stuff? That would be crazy. That'd be crazy if we were the only surviving people, right?"
Well, judging by our ages, Kit, I doubt that will be the outcome, but it would be a actually devastating devastating event. I mean, I'm not exactly looking to have everyone in this room perish, simply that I could have a old manor house and an old lighthouse. I am neither here nor there on the $38 million.
Yeah, me neither. I don't like any of that stuff either.
But yes, if over the next 10 years the others in this room were to perish, then hypothetically, Kit, we would receive all of the benefits of the will.
That'd be pretty crazy. That's all that I'm saying, like almost like winning the lottery if they all like died, like that. Whoa, that'd be crazy,
Would definitely be unexpected. That's something out of a Scooby-Doo there, Kit. I doubt we would have such shenanigans going on, although after the...
Are you saying that the manor is fake haunted? Like haunted, but in a fake way?
Yes, it's a real estate debacle created by the bank owner, Mr. Jenkins, Kit.
I thought there was something funny about that guy. I really thought there was. So he's like, what, dressing up like a ghost? This conversation can like...
And that conversation goes on, yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, you and Skeen get to have a bit of a chat. How deep do you want to go here?
Yeah, there's all kinds of surprising stuff. First of all, lighthouses rule. You don't like a lighthouse, you suck. Jason is more interested in the family that gave him up and why that happened. Super pissed at Lazaro, wondering how Amelia could have even let this happen, and why only 7 years later they keep the love child instead of forcing him off into the system like I was.
Skeen says, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answers to any of those things. I didn't know you existed. But I can tell you about Mom. But she was into healthcare, home healthcare stuff back then, just like I am now, and which of course is a perhaps a bit of stereotyping shock because Skeen is." Half of their head is shaven, they're tattooed, they have piercings, rides a BMW.
Either way, but Jason is not fazed by any of that from what he has seen and dealt with in his life. Skeen is a very welcoming person, and Jason looks at Skeen as a very welcome sibling at this point in time, considering they knew nothing about each other.
Does Jason have any tattoos or anything, any marks of his previous occupation? Or current occupation, I guess. I don't know. Are you still in the...
No, actually, Jason has kept himself pretty clean, mostly because he was kind of a face. And a scout to try and lure crowds into actually seeing performances.
So yeah, she can tell you about Amelia. There's not a lot to tell, a lot of stories that won't be able to get into in the time that you have here, but throws off a couple of them. But about the time that gotten through a couple of just, familial things, stuff you never got to experience, of course. Wolfgang comes back in and says, "If you would like to come in and sign, Mr. Caine," he says to Carl, "and mix Marcotte as well." And so Skeen gives you a little salute, Jason, and says, "We've got to talk later, and I got an awesome car. We can go driving around, talk, we can have biscuits." I don't know. Maybe this place doesn't even have good biscuits. I have no idea.
That sounds good, Skeen.
I'm staying up at the lodge. I didn't see you there.
I was staying at a cabin, a little hunting cabin on the other side of Fog Mountain.
That's interesting.
You do hear that, Gigi, because you are back in the room. Or maybe you aren't. Where did Gigi and Allison go after the offices?
I guess I probably would ask Allison where she wanted to go. Allison, would you like to go back into the room and speak to the others, or what do you feel like?
I don't know. This is wild.
Yeah.
Am I rich now?
Allison, you're rich now.
Okay. Is that... Oh, wow. Okay. I have the house. I played in that house.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, I think I want to go back up to the lodge.
All right.
And yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. What should I be doing? What would a rich person do?
Well, I seem to recall reading somewhere that if you win the lottery or come into possession of large sums of money in some other fashion, the first thing you ought to do is hire a financial advisor and possibly set up a trust fund. Or is it an LLC? I can never remember. The financial advisor will tell you.
Standing in the hallway is a younger, nattily dressed fellow who looks a lot like Wolfgang, who says, "We can provide those services here at Heart and Heart, and have done so for the family for ages."
Well, there you are, Allison. It comes built in.
And so she turns to him and says, well, what would a rich person do? I understand that you had a bit of a mishap with your luggage. Perhaps we can give you a bit of money to go purchase a new wardrobe.
We shall go shopping.
And shopping montage follows.
Material Girl plays.
Some kind of 90s all-girl pop band.
Just when I thought I was free from the 90s.
When you and Allison go outside after the younger Hart brother has given you a corporate credit card, you see out there across the street a woman sitting on the hood of a very expensive car, looking a lot like actually you probably did on your ride over on the ferry, except with not quite as expensive a car.
Yeah, my eyebrows go up and my eyes kind of travel up and down.
She's a little bit older, probably about the age of the younger Kittredge, and she looks up as you come out and tilts her sunglasses down and just appraises you and Allison, it seems, as you walk down the steps and head off toward your shopping extravaganza. She makes no other move, though.
I'm staring right back at her.
You probably shouldn't be able to see the wink, but she winks.
I do a little, half grin, and then I turn back and, turn back forward to keep walking with Allison.
All right, so Carl and Skeen go to the offices and sign paperwork, and blah, 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 paperwork follows. Lots more paperwork happens. Unless there's anything special anybody wanted to do while signing paperwork? I'll take that as a no. Tonight on the Gothic Podcast, bureaucracy at work.
You didn't know you were signing on for a legal roleplay.
I never do.
Carl, when you come out of the law offices of Heart and Heart, you see a woman sitting on the hood of a very expensive car across the street, and you recognize that woman. That woman is one Candace Caine, your daughter-in-law.
I'll do the double take. You expect to kind of just give the person a nod, and you realize you recognize them and do that very quick double take.
Hey, old man, who's the hottie? That your squeeze? Says Skeen, who came out with you.
Yeah, yes, give them the what in the heck are you talking about look. Say, this would be my daughter-in-law.
Oh, okay. Hey, why wasn't she in there then?
I believe she wasn't invited and wouldn't be a direct relative anyway.
Nice car. Ooh, where's my car? Oh, it's probably up at the house. Hey, are you headed up to the house later?
Yes, I suppose I've got to check on the books.
Skeen is going to head off and do some things, but I will bring the car around for you. And then they laugh and wander off.
In that pseudo-British voice of theirs.
Yes. I can do a British act. No, never mind. And they laugh again and wander off.
I'll wander over to the surprising appearance of the daughter-in-law and say, surprised to see you here.
Oh, Carl, darling, of course I'm here. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Very confused mutterings. Well, I believe you did miss it. The reading of the will is over. It's finished.
You know what I mean, darling. You know, Daddy dearest. That, well, you inherited everything, right? And so I just thought we should reconnect. It's been how many years?
It's been some time, yes. But I'm afraid you are only going to find disappointment here. The extent of my inheritance is going to be some musty old books.
Yes, she cannot mask the disappointment on her face. Well, then who inherited, if not the oldest living relative of the deceased?
I'll kind of look around to see if I see anybody around.
William and Kit are just now walking out of the law offices.
Well, I don't believe I see the young lady around. She's already wandered off, but yes, one of the other relatives. Someone to whom apparently my brother was quite endeared.
Indeed. She does that thing where she just dismisses you. She's now just sitting there thinking. And you know she did it to you a lot. She never did it to your son, at least that you know of. But she would do that to you quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to do the thing that only old men can get away with, where they just kind of stand there for an awkward amount of time, not quite certain why it is they're not moving, but just to kind of stand there and just stare.
William, kind of now surveying the scene, would like to sort of pick up on how Carl's doing, because he didn't really expect this man and being to be interacting with a significantly younger woman and on this level of intimacy so close, and it is a personality shift that he wasn't expecting. So gonna see what might be going on there, especially he's taken an interest into Carl because he has his books.
Roll and identify. Check.
Oh boy, I'm not good at this one. I got really lucky. I got a 9 and a 10.
Nice.
With a 4, so that's going to be a 23.
William, you're maybe not good at reading people always, but right now you're honed in. You can get a whole family history almost in the expressions going on between them. Now you can't get the relationships between the two here, but this is not a lover's tryst or anything like that. Not only because Carl is what did we determine Carl is in his 90s?
Carl is exactly 90.
And yeah, this woman is more Kit's age.
William's going to look over to Kit and basically go, Kit, if you'd be so kind as to grab the car, I'm going to see if I can rescue Mr. Caine real quick.
Who's the hottie?
I'm sure I don't know, but, well, once you bring the car around, if we have some time, you might as well go say hi.
Yeah, sure thing, Will. All right,
Kit. And William's going to walk over to Carl. Uncle Caine, sorry I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was wondering if you were ready to head up to the manor with us.
I believe the sooner I wrap all of this up, the better it'll be. So yes, let's take care of that. Let's go look at those books that you're so interested in.
Delightful. I apologize. I don't mean to steal him away.
Oh no, that sounds lovely. Of course I will come with you, she says. I'm Candace, by the way. Candace Caine.
Delightful to make your acquaintance. My name is William Kitteridge.
This young lady was once married to my son.
Well, condolences then, I would assume. Or perhaps that is the incorrect affirmation, but I would be... It's delightful to meet you. Kind of pulling himself back, not sure how to really interact with that particular human situation. But yes,
You're trying to get Carl to take you up to the house now. Of course, Carl, you don't have the keys.
Keys, schmees.
Does Allison have the keys? Did they give them to her?
Wolfgang actually handed over the keys and said,
Wow.
Probably best not to move in immediately, but you can certainly, it is yours now, so here you are, and hands Allison these, like, ancient, giant skeleton key-looking things on a big iron ring.
So would the house be unoccupied at this point? There are no, I don't know, were there servants?
Theoretically.
Yeah, you have no idea, Carl. When you were here, there were servants, but the family was larger.
I might not consider that. Just assume that there had been. And may just head on up there.
Well, Kit brings around the car.
And who's getting into the car? Is it just William?
Well, what is it that the Kitteridges are driving?
The Kitteridges are driving a very nice, very new Model 7 BMW. It's this sort of sleek black sedan. It looks very much just like a very nice, dark, unassuming car.
Of course, William drives a BMW.
I think one of the only notable things is kind of in the windshield of this car is a University of Portland sort of identification sticker. But other than that, it's just sort of this very stereotypical sleek, nice black car as William kind of walks up and opens the back door for Carl and sort of motions, here. This should make the transit a bit easier.
Are the dogs in the car?
No, the dogs are at the room at the lodge.
So yeah, Kit, you drive the car around, and then your brother is opening the door for Carl Caine, who gets into the back. Or does he?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, I guess I will just be following you all up then. And Candace goes around and gets into the driver's side of her Porsche.
Does that seem weird to Carl?
She's always been a bit pushy.
Where are we headed, Will?
Just head into town a little bit, Kit. I apologize for Uncle Caine.
Oh, this is Uncle Caine?
Yeah, Kit, this is our Uncle Caine.
All right, nice to meet you. How old are you, like 100? 150? No, that doesn't make sense. People don't live that long. Seriously, though, nice to meet you.
Your first guess wasn't far off, but nice to meet you too.
All right, I'm driving now.
Thank you, Kit. William looks at Kit and goes, if you could take some of the back roads, that would be rather enjoyable. I always enjoy the scenery. Back roads is William's kind of code word for Kit, to lose anyone that's behind him. I would say William is not necessarily the most, while he is poised and sort of poised, he is not necessarily above illegal activities when it requires him to get what he wants. And he drags Kit along with him every time. And so that kind of their code word is, whoever's behind them, you need to try and lose them.
Yeah, because literally that would be difficult. There are back roads, but they tend to go in loops or dead ends as they go up into some of the residential areas that have built up in the trees on the slopes of the mountain. And going out to the manor, there is just the one main road, the main island road. That comes up, Kit, on your GPS that you have. You see all of that. But it looks like it's a windy road. You could probably go fast and maybe dive into one of the more residential areas and that has a loop and try and ditch the Porsche that pulls out right behind you as you pull off into Main Street.
And, okay, yeah, as soon as William says take the back roads, Kit would kind of say, like, you sure? You sure, Will? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got it. All right. And maybe try to lose the Porsche around. Porsche. You know what? Now's not the time. Try to lose around a corner and take a right. Hopefully he doesn't go screaming off a cliff and kill all 3 of the people in the car. That would be terrible, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Make your job easier, though.
What do I need to roll any sort of like escape or
Absolutely.
All right.
Kit, I need you to roll, and that is the very one as well. You need to roll an escape, and that is going to be against Candace's pursue. Very straightforward.
All right. And I'm adding +5 to this, right? Because I got an escape 5.
If that's what you have for your escape, yes.
Cool.
I like to imagine that Kit's doing the is it Porsche or Portia talk, like, to William as they're, like, zooming around corners and stuff.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. He's kind of doing the Dumb and Dumber thing, like, looking in the rearview mirror a lot more than he should be while he's driving.
The thing where, like, if you're watching a movie, you're like, pay attention to the road!
Yeah, exactly. 6 and a 7, 13 plus 5, 18.
You actually would beat Candace's score by 1. However, I do still have some tension points left.
Nice.
I'm going to spend my remaining tension points and make that a fail. She stays on you as you just head barreling off of Main Street, which is... It's not the only street in Spirit Bay, but there aren't a lot of them. And onto the Island Road, which is what it's called, that winds out by the Spirit Bay Lodge, which is a couple of miles outside of town. And you just barrel around a motorcycle that, Carl, you recognize Skeen's touring BMW. And then the Porsche just stays right on you. Listeners, if you'd like to tweet us with the correct pronunciation of that car that starts with a P and ends with a sh.
Tweet it at Patrick specifically.
Please, that would be hilarious.
Specifically to Sharon at...
Psych, I'm not on Twitter. Ha ha!
Well, when I was in the war, we called old Ferdinand Porsche. Fought a few of those nasty little vehicles he put together. By the way, they made tanks in World War II.
I had a moment where I couldn't tell if that was Carl or Richard. Like talking to Kit and William.
They're just fancy Volkswagens anyway.
Oh, man. Yeah, so anyway, Mitsubishi actually made fighter planes in World War II. And, hey, Will, how many more back roads do we want to take? These back roads don't seem pretty enough?
No, I don't think they do. I think it'd be time to just head up to the manor. We've seen all that we can here. I apologize for sort of stealing you away, Uncle Caine. I got a feeling that she isn't the most pleasant woman to interact and or be around, and I figured I might as well do my good deed for the day and save my uncle.
We all have our crosses to bear.
While you are speeding at high speeds on the Island Road toward Caine Manor, with all of the people that I need to kill this evening in one car...
Sorry, I gave you an out.
Jason? Jason, what are you doing?
Jason would have spent time asking more questions when signing everything, especially looking over all the little fine print, ensuring that the deed was legit for the lighthouse and the bank funds in the right places to take care of it. Because, I mean, that was his precious thing, even though screw this guy for forcing Amelia to give me a... He's still conflicted about that. And then after that, as he is walking out to his blue Jeep Wrangler, he notices the two fancy cars driving away and decides to try to seek out other family members to see what other information he could get, specifically Gigi and Allison. So he would head into town to look for the shops that they would have gone to. And since being here a couple of days, I kind of have a good layout of how the town is set up.
The main shops and such are all laid out on the main street there. Yeah, there are some residential areas behind that, and then as you move toward the waterfront, you get fisheries stuff going on down there, the fishermen and the docks and such. And actually, it's not too difficult to find those two. And so you see them, Jason, actually coming out of a shop just down the way.
Groovy. So I would pull over to the side of the road and jump out, of course, check traffic, make sure I don't get slammed by a bus or something, and then I'll holler out to the two and run over towards them. Hey, Gigi and
hello,
Allison. I was just wondering if you guys had a few moments to talk about this side of the family that I know absolutely nothing about. Would you like to go grab a bite to eat and fill me in on some of what's going on with all of this and how do I fit in?
Absolutely. I am famished. I don't know about you, Allison. I am famished. A bite to eat would go down very nicely. And is that your Jeep? Maybe put our shopping in it. We've got like 4 shopping bags on each arm.
Yeah.
I actually have been doing a little bit of, this side of the family is rather interesting to me. My mother never talked about it much. And so I have been putting together a little amateur project into the family tree.
Well, how is the food at the lodge? Maybe we could just all sit at dinner up there and kind of go over things.
The drinks are great. I haven't eaten there yet. But if their drinks are good, surely the attention to detail also spreads to the food.
Well, throw your bags in. Let's get you guys up there then.
You guys all pile into Jason's Wrangler and start up toward the lodge. You actually overtake Skein, who it looks like has been, they are tending to their motorcycle, which looks like it might have a flat. It's on the side of the road. Now, as you're driving out of town, headed toward the lodge, the road gains in elevation. Now, as the cliffs begin to rise up and bring the road with them, heading north out of Spirit Bay itself, you can see out over the sound. It's absolutely stunning, even with the overcast. There are all these islands out there, pretty mountainous, green, covered with the tops dusted in frost and snow, and more so since the snow of last night. And then as you come around the bend, you see Skein there, and beyond them you can see the cemetery, which is on the cliff side of the road. And kind of bare, not very many trees or anything in it, but some very tall mausoleum buildings. And then beyond that, butting up against it almost, is the lodge itself in all of its rustic glory, with its huge beams and massive wings.
Yeah, pulling over. I'm sorry, you guys, but I gotta see what's going on with Skein.
No problem at all. They were invaluable during our aquatic rescue. They held my coat.
Oh, yeah, the ferry incident, right? Anyway, so yeah, let me check on Skein, and I'll let you guys know what the status is.
They wave their arms as you're coming by, and then Skein sees who you are and says, "Hey, bro."
Hi, Skein.
Well, two really fancy cars just ran me off the road.
Yeah, figures as much.
Blew a tire.
Well, you shall have the fanciest car on the island before the night's out.
I know.
Are you heading up to the lodge, Skein?
Yeah.
Would you like a ride?
Sure. Give me 1 second. They go back over to their bike and take the hard packs off of the back and throw them into the back of the Wrangler. And then Skein goes back over to the bike and points it at the cliff, and then just runs it right toward the cliff, and then just lets it fly.
What? Skein! What the hell, dude?
Oh, Skeen, that was a...
They go over and look. And... yeah, that was 2 seconds. How far down is that?
800 feet?
You are getting a new car, so have you wanted to do that for a while?
That's true dedication, Skeen. I respect that.
Did you see the gas station here? They're not going to have tires for that.
Okay. Well, hop on in.
And then they come back over and like get into the Wrangler, but I assume you have the top on since it's kind of cold.
Yeah, the top is definitely on at this point in time.
Yeah, so swings into the back. Who's sitting in the back?
I am. Let's say Allison's in the front.
Swings into the back with Gigi. Hey, Gigi, whose name sounds like a flapper, apparently. And they laugh.
I mean, he would know, wouldn't he?
I guess.
As if Gloria Grace didn't sound like a grandmother.
You guys go on up to the lodge then?
Yep, heading up to the lodge.
Back on the road, the three of you in the Kitteridge's car are... Kit is still doing a pretty good clip up the island road. And this is a 2-lane blacktop that does do a lot of winding. Sometimes there's more trees on the cliffside, but it keeps pretty close to the side. You see guardrails that are busted up in places as if something hit them and they bent, but they didn't give. So the ocean or the sound is to the right, and you get glimpses of those awesome views too of the green islands out there, kind of hazed over with clouds and such, but also dusted with snow. And there are patches of snow and ice on the road itself, but it looks like it's been mostly cleared by whatever road crews they have here on Elk Island, as well as the rains of this morning. And to your left are occasionally those roads that go up into the forested sides of the hills, which become one large mountain in the center of the island, Fog Mountain, which, according to the guidebooks, hits something like 1,400 feet at its top. But you guys have gotten pretty high on the cliff sides here. You're probably 300 feet up.
As Kip is driving the car, he's kind of doing a thing where he's like looking, sideways out the window at the cliff and kind of whistles to himself and says like, wouldn't want to drive off the road, head down that cliff. Jeez, that wouldn't be a good way to end a day, huh?
Quite a fall, I would say.
And Kit turns back to the road just in time to see a woman coalesce out of the steam rising up from the roadway and the mist and such that's left in the air, standing there in the road.
It's Haven Harrow.
Help me.
It is not Haven Harrow. She said, help me.
Find the purple monkey.
Kit screams, oh shit, a fake ghost.
Roll for me, escape.
That's concerning.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Kit. You rolled last time. You were the most recent person to roll. That means I get to roll.
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're being pursued by Haven Harrow.
I forgot the terror of being a player. Oh.
Carl, you recognize the woman standing in front of the car.
Oh, I kind of gathered.
Oh, no.
It is your dead wife.
It's Ghost
I
Wife.
will gasp.
Kip, by the way, definitely said the whole thing about, oh shit, the fake ghost from the manor.
If he said that out loud, then Carl would definitely be like, wait, what?
So, I got a 20.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
A 20 for what?
Oh, my.
So, Kit, what is your escape?
5.
So, I was rolling against a 15. I succeed. And, Kit, you look up, you see, and you see the figure kind of coalesce, and you say that about the about the ghost from the manor, and you jerk the wheel hard to the right, but not before you hit the figure. Carl, suddenly, for just a moment, it's just a moment, but your wife is in the car with you. They're right in front of your face. You're face to face with her as the car is turning. As Kit is wrenching the wheel to the right, time seems to slow down for just a moment. and she is there. I need you to roll an escape check.
Okay. Sorry, I was pulling up my thingy. That's actually going to be 19.
Ooh, nice. You continue wishing to stay on the podcast.
He can't die!
Rolls are too strong.
And then, Carl, she's passing through you, and you feel this coldness, but you also feel something else there. It is this coldness, but it's something that's not your wife. It is a breath of something from somewhere else. I mean, there's no way to identify it or even to really contemplate it very much before the car is hitting the guardrail and popping up and then landing hard on the guardrail itself, and the whole thing mangles. And of course, there's no way to register all of that for those of you who are in the car as it is going over the side, but it winds up with the airbags all having gone off and tilted with the back wheels barely caught on the mangled railing. Now, beyond the railing isn't just a sheer drop. It is a kind of a rocky slope with a few trees, but through those trees, which don't look quite solid enough to stop the car from continuing on its downward plunge if it were to go on over, beyond that is the cliff and the drop-off.
Okay, I have a thing that I want Kit to do, but I don't know if it makes sense.
The airbag has now deflated. There's just that smell of that weird smell that airbags have. If you've ever been in a car where an airbag has gone off, which I have, it's kind of an old dust smell. So, Kit, you are essentially looking down a short slope of rocky and tree-lined scree, and then a drop of a couple of 100 feet to perhaps the sea, to perhaps the shore. Either way, it's probably not going to, be a comfortable landing because your airbags have already gone off.
So, and let me know if this just is stupid, but that's what he would see if he was like looking and paying attention. But I envision him fighting with the airbag, just kind of like using his fists and like kind of, in a little bit of a delirium, a little bit of like shock, just like punching at the airbag to try to get it out of his face. And he's like kind of slurring his words. He might have a concussion, but he's saying like, Will, are you okay? I hit the guardrail. I think I hit the fake ghost. I'm gonna go to jail. I know it. Oh no. I need to get us help. You stay here. I'm gonna go get us help. And like, he opens the door and steps out.
William is still very disoriented from this, and recognizes yes, Kit, go get some. Oh no, Kit. I would like to say that it's definitely a little bit too late. He looks up and see Kit opening the door. He's like, no.
So Kit steps out of the car, and I think, oh, you know what? You have that, you have an athletic specialty, don't you?
So I have triathlon competitor and brother's keeper. The way that I was approaching this was kind of more like brother's keeper, where it's like, Will, you stay here. I'm going to go get help, even though he's like not in a medical state of mind to be able to help. But yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. So now, roll escape.
Okay. 7 and an 8 plus 5, 20.
Okay. So Kit, you step out of the car and you just go tumbling down the slope, and you smack your head again, and you hear something crack in your arm, and but then you come up hard against a tree, and then you just are sort of just sitting there against this tree. But you are in a position where if you had the wherewithal to see it, you see a woman standing next to the car. It's not the one that you ran over.
I think his mouth is bloodied at this point, and he's kind of like coughing up blood, and he does his best to kind of like call up, but he's like, William, there's a witness.
William, now gaining sort of a bearing on the situation, is actually just takes a second and just like gently like rubs the bridge of his nose. This was not how he expected his afternoon to go. And he reaches into kind of like the pocket on the seat in front of him, and he pulls out this sort of, for a second it almost looks like a medallion, but he goes and he attaches, it's actually a long earring. It sort of goes down from his left ear, and it's this simple gold chain with a small pendant, which appears to be sort of a small eye accented with jade. That appears to be open, that he puts on his ear very quickly in a practice motion, and he looks over to see how his uncle Carl's doing.
Well, that's a good question. Carl, I don't need you to make a roll, but you are, as you have mentioned, old. And you were just in a car wreck in the back seat. And so I need you to either spend a survival point or be unconscious.
And I'd just like to point out, I didn't hear anyone say they put on seatbelts, I'm just saying.
There we go. Gotta specify.
Just because I want to see what the rest will do with it, I'm going to be unconscious.
Uncle Carl appears to be unconscious at the moment in the back of the car. He's slumped there in his restraints, which he did put on, Kit. And his head is lolling, and he could be dead.
William is going to look around and see, is there anyone other than Kit and him around? Can the woman that was following them see into the car? And two, are there any pieces of broken glass near William?
Plenty of broken glass near William, and there is the woman, and she is near the back of your car, and you recognize her as Candace Caine. She's pulled up right behind you, having been pretty close.
I look up and I go, go back to town. Go get the police. I'm not sure. The Mr. Caine appears to, in all honesty, he appears to be dead. Please.
Yeah, okay. And she pulls out a cell phone and then runs back to her car and jumps in. And there's a squealing of tires.
As she leaves, William's gonna reach out and take a piece of like ripped cloth, wrap it around his hand, and then pick up the piece of broken glass. And then, kind of judging from where the back window was, he's going to take that piece of black glass and it's going to stab Carl in the neck. The intention is to make it look like a piece of glass from the shattered back windshield went into Carl.
Go ahead and describe it.
Yeah. So what he does is he reaches up sort of behind his neck, and judging where the window for the back windshield sort of cracked inward from the force of them going off the guardrail, and looking at how Carl is sort of slumped down in the seat, kind of resting in front of him, he kind of takes the piece of glass, sort of moving it around. And he actually takes some time, is pretty meticulous about it, and then with you're
not sure that you're going to have that time because the car is actually rocking forward.
Oh, if it's a much tenser situation, that he would like look up at the window, look down at him, make a few like, oh, okay, that looks about right, and then go, and holding it in the hand that's covered in cloth, he takes another piece of glass and puts it against it, and then slams it down, sort of like a nail in a piece of wood. Takes the piece of glass that he had that has his fingerprints on it, and chucks it out the window down onto the cliff.
So you just jam this glass into Uncle Carl's neck, and blood sprays. It's all over your hands. You had to squirm around in the seat in order to get into the right position, and it was still kind of awkward to do, but man, there's a lot of blood. You had to have done it. But I need you to roll a assault against against Carl's passive protect.
Okay.
Which I believe is 15.
Well, right now, let's see. I've got a 6 assault and dice. I'm going to be amazed. I'm going to be confused on what to do if I fail this.
No, don't worry about it. I got it. I got you covered.
Okay. I got 2 5s. So that's 10 plus 6. So that's going to beat it just by 1.
My protect is 6.
Oh, 16. Okay. All right. So here's what happens. The blood's everywhere. And as you pull the glass out, William, and you're just looking there at your uncle as blood is kind of flowing down his neck, the car shifts again. There's a grinding of metal as the whole thing slips off of the railing. And I'm going to roll. And I'm going to roll. What am I going to roll?
Are you going to roll?
I'm going to roll. What am I going to roll?
You're going to roll?
I'm going to roll an assault.
Are you rolling now?
Oh, no. What am I being assaulted by?
The cliff?
Gravity. 16.
Yeah, that'll do it. I have a passive protect of 12.
All right. You lose a survival point.
Ooh, I'm down to one of those.
The car plunges down the slope right toward Kit. Kit, roll me.
Losing
escape.
survival points causes effective tension, correct?
It does, yes. Yeah, we're currently, actually, because William is technically a villain, and we also had the appearance of the ghostly figure. We're at a pretty high tension right now. I think we're around 10.
In the meantime, Kit had been slowly, like, limping and hobbling his way back up the hill, muttering through broken teeth and broken jaws, like, "I'm coming, Will. I'm coming. I'm going to help you."
And then the car starts coming toward you, plunging down. You just see the nose of the car, which is already bent and broken, the fiberglass and the metal just looking like teeth as it's coming for you.
Nice. Oh, that's great imagery. Okay, so escape. An 8 and a 4, 12 plus 5, 17.
You're not able to like leap out of the way, but you scrabble out of the way, clutching onto vines and such, some underbrush that's there, and the car continues, half flips so that the driver's side is down and is lodged against the tree that you were just leaning up against a few moments ago, Kit. William, you are still alive and conscious and can try to climb out. The car is still creaking a lot.
Yeah, William has just gone through Crash Act 2 and is real not happy about it. And he's going to do his best to kind of climb out onto the hill. He is leaving what he hopes is the body of Uncle Carl in the car as he goes to climb out.
William, you get out of the car. There's the smell of gasoline, but there's nothing's burning or anything, so it's not like, a movie car explosion is about to happen. But you get out, you're covered in blood, yours and your uncle's, and kind of half fall, half jump from the passenger door to the slope and crawl your way back up to join your brother, who is actually in reasonably good health. So, Kit, do you want to be helping your brother up to the roadway again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think when he sees that he's alive, he has like a mini breakdown where he, starts sobbing and telling him how he thought he was going to be mangled. And
it seems like not too long, but it had to have been a while when you hear sirens approaching. And back at the lodge, actually, several people go out who were in the restaurant part, because it's toward the front of the lodge, as they hear sirens. And 2 police cars, all of the police cars that are in Spirit Bay, come just racing past the lodge, headed along the island road. Anyway, the sheriff's department shows up, and they get you, William, and Kit into one of the cars. There's a deputy there, that takes you back down into town to the little clinic they have there. They don't have a hospital here, but they do have a small clinic, while the other stayed out there to deal with the wreck and with Carl, and waiting on the one ambulance that the town has. Again, these are not this is not a big place. They really depend on the mainland for a lot of this, but because they are a little secluded, they have some resources here. So they have this very old ambulance that eventually also makes it out. The sheriff's car that you're in pass it as it's going out toward the wreck. But everybody at the lodge sees it go by, too. Really, though, the Kitteridge brothers are relatively unharmed.
Not for a lack of trying.
Yeah.
William, you're, of course, going to be waiting to find out about Carl and to find out whether he was entirely unconscious or if he's dead or what. But
now that William's been patched up a little bit, the first thing he's going to do is go back to whatever hotel room he was at, because his clothes are very understandably covered in blood and tattered.
That would be at the Spirit Bay Lodge.
That'd be at the Spirit Bay Lodge. He will start making his way over there with Kit. We're going back to the lodge. We need to change.
Oh, good. I'm feeling pretty sleepy.
You don't have a car?
He will probably start to walk then, that or look around for a taxi. And he's checking he's checking to see if Uber has anything, although he doubts it.
Actually, William, go ahead and roll a identify check. Sure.
Identify. I got a 6 and a 1. That's going to be 7 plus 4. That's only going to be 11.
Okay. That is a failure. So no, there are no Uber drivers currently available. There actually is an Uber driver, but apparently he's not picking up at the moment. He's not on call.
He's also the ambulance driver.
It's Skeen!
Yeah. It's Skeen!
You do catch a ride, though. You've walked maybe a half a mile out toward the lodge, and somebody coming by just headed that way just picks you up. Oh, you boys need a ride, eh?
Yes, sir. That would be delightful.
So you get up to the lodge where everybody is just kind of standing around outside because it hasn't been that long since the ambulance and police car went back the other direction. And so you change, and then what?
He's going to get his dogs.
Okay.
They are a pair of Doberman Pinschers. They have these very nice leather collars on, and below them in a sort of nice metallic steel plate, one reads Regis and the other one reads Rochester. Is the lodge where everyone else is at the moment?
Yes.
How do they react? Because to the Kitteridges walking in, and at least one Kitteridge being covered in blood.
After having seen all this activity, Gigi and Jason, what do?
Gigi's right at the front of the rubbernecking crowd with a whiskey sour and just leaning on whatever's available and just like the ultra rubbernecking. And as soon as the Kitteridges start walking up covered in blood, her eyebrows go so far up her forehead they're in danger of disappearing into her hairline. And just
yeah, and they were dropped off by this extended cab pickup with this big, a camper thing on the back of the over the bed.
And I imagine Jason would have been deep in conversation with Gigi, Allison, Skeen, whoever was available at that time. They all would have gravitated toward that direction, but Jason would have probably held back a little bit, trying to assess a little bit more carefully of what's going on around them.
William is going to walk actually directly up to Allison and the group that she is a part of at the moment and just go, I don't know your relation to Uncle Carl, but you might want to go to the hospital. I know I will be heading there sooner rather than later.
What? Gigi, come here. Gigi.
I put my shoulder in front of Allison as if to protect her. What do you mean by that, William?
We were in a car accident. If you would give me a moment to change, I would be happy to explain more in detail. But I would really like to get out of my blood-soaked suit.
So which is it? Should we hurry to the hospital or wait for you to change?
I believe that is your decision. And William's going to go to his room and change.
Yeah, William says that, and then he walks off, followed by Kit, who looks a little battered up. And Jason, you were able to catch that little conversation too. Skeen's there as well.
Allison, let's go to the hospital.
I imagine that Skeen and I were still kind of near each other. And at that point, I look over at Skeen, and I imagine Skeen looking over at me, and both of us at the same time kind of realizing and nodding and saying, we got to go check on Carl.
So you guys, pile into the Wrangler?
Wrangler?
Yeah. What's there, 4 of us? That'll fit in a regular. If you would, my dear cousin, we'll figure it out.
So you guys leap in the Wrangler and head off. William, Kit, what is your plan, William? Are you going to go back down? The others seem to be gone. If you go back out to check on them, you can actually see a blue Jeep pulling out of the driveway. Probably by that point, they probably discussed for a little while.
Seeing this and seeing the ambulance, William is concerned that Carl Caine might be alive. And I would like to use dark magic to assault him from afar, making it look like he died in the hospital while they were in transit.
You'll need something of Carl's for that, but I believe you have that, since you are covered in blood, or were covered in blood a moment ago, and now there's probably a towel in your room that is like that. Go ahead and, let's see. Oh, but you just rolled last, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
That means Richard gets to roll his protect. So Richard gets to roll Carl's protect against your passive black magic.
Ooh, here we go. 13 plus 6 is another 19.
Wow. Carl really will not die.
That's going to be interesting, because my passive dark magic is also 19.
That means that, let's see, tensions are high. That is an assault protect. Carl, I actually can't affect that, but how many survival points do you have left?
I haven't actually spent any, so I still have the 3 and then the 1 different colored one.
You have a lot of survival points.
I'm working on trying to make them go away.
Okay, so this was a risk check. So describe this magic to me, William.
What William does is he takes sort of this towel coated in Carl's blood, and he places his hand on it, and sort of this green and black smoke starts to slowly kind of emanate around it like a small cloud, and then it sort of it goes into this towel, and all the blood on the towel turns black and rotten, almost like it's been festering and coagulating for months. And then a little bit of that happens to Carl as well.
William, you feel the magic flowing out of you, and you feel it like you feel Carl rotting almost as the magic it takes a hold of him, but you don't know his state at this point.
Mm. Okay.
You are aware that the magic isn't always perfect or immediate. The question remains, then what do you do?
William, he's going to go to the bank and see what's his dear great uncle left him.
William, you are taking the dogs and Kit, or just you? What's going on?
I'm gonna take Kit. I was thinking about bringing the dogs, but I figured they probably won't let him into a bank. So
it's Spirit Bay.
Well, if I've gotten that feeling, then absolutely I'm going to go take my dogs for a walk, as well as Kit.
They have 2 police cars.
Very true. Yeah, I'll take the dogs with me.
So William takes the dogs and Kit for a walk, and you're actually able to secure a car from the lodge if you would like. It's not a great car, but it's one that you could borrow from them to go into town.
I would be happy to take it.
And so you drive into town and head down to the bank. You pass by the little clinic where you presume Carl is lying in deathly repose. And like I mentioned earlier, the bank is not an imposing structure. The main street of Spirit Bay is classic Pacific Northwest. It looks almost like an old West town, but updated. With most of the buildings are 2 stories, some are 3. A lot of brick fronting, a lot of almost faux gables that block view of a flatter roof, but still slanted so that the snow and rain will flow off of it. And this is just one of those buildings in between a couple of shops. And it just says Spirit Bay Savings and Loan. And you go inside. And Wolfgang gave you the key to the safe deposit box.
He's going to go inside, and he's going to tell Kit to stay outside and watch the dogs, as he is one to do.
Yeah, okay. I'm probably gonna just take a nap here in the car. Is that okay?
All right, yeah, you can take a nap in the car.
All right.
He's going to then head inside and check what's in that safety deposit box.
A banker takes you back in the back and then pulls out the correct box and puts it onto a table. You need anything else, Mr. Kitteridge?
Do you all do any transfers from more mainland banks? I was hoping to be able to pull out some money here.
Certainly we can do that for you, sir.
All right, if you would be so kind as to pull about $300 for me, that would be delightful.
Certainly. May I just have your ID, sir?
Absolutely. And then he passes over the ID.
And he goes out to do that.
Now I can privately look and see what's in this box.
William, you put the key in the safety deposit box and open it. Inside is a book. It is an ancient book. The cover is gnarled, maybe even made of the skin of something, and the words emblazoned on it, or rather embedded in it, are Deifica Mortalis.
William is instantly on edge.
But it's too late, really, because the book opens, and you can almost hear Lazarus Caine's voice in your ear. And maybe you can, as he says, "Enjoy your book, boy." And then tendrils of black smoke writhe up and out of the book and the safety deposit box that it's in and wrap around you, filling the room with a haze of corruption and malevolence. Make a protect roll.
Oh no! Why a protect roll? I am so bad at that one. Oh boy. Alright, well. I am not joking. I rolled 2 1s. I have a total of 4.
Your other survival token turns dark. Out in the car, the dogs howl.
The Gothic Podcast is an actual play audio drama produced by C. Patrick Neagle, starring C. Patrick Neagle, Sharon Gollery-LaFournaise, Jesse Baldwin, and Nathan Addison. Theme music is by Zoe Hovland, with cover artwork by Jared George Art. Season 2 of the Gothic Podcast uses rules from the Monster of the Week RPG by Michael Sands and the Dead of the Night RPG by Steam Power Publishing, written by Andrew Kenrick. Look us up by name on all the social medias or email us at thegothicpodcast@gmail.com. Support for the Gothic Podcast comes from you, our listeners, so please rate, review, and share. And we have a Patreon page too. Thanks for listening.
You boys need a ride, looks like, because I'm from the South, I guess. Crap, it's too late. Okay.